It was Leandro's first game last time, so he knows all the rules now. I can tell you everything. Cool. Right, welcome, folks, to Hearts of Wulin, part 2 of the Four Masters. We're joined by the 3 players that we had last time, Leandro, Ludo, and Sabine. But really happy to say that Mikael is feeling better and has joined us as well. This is a gauntlet game. We are using the X card. We have updated our lines and veils for our new player. And we're going to get ready to go pretty quickly. So, Mikael, would you like to introduce your character and who they are, and then we can get some entanglements maybe built in either now or as the play unfolds?
Yeah, I'm playing Ping, she also has like this more fancy name, Dirty Fist, but as she is not really recognized as a martial artist, I think most people just refer to her as Ping. She used to, I think she used to, her father used to work at this martial arts school, and she grew up there. But then these like laws came that forbid that kind of thing. So now she doesn't really have a job, and I think her father is well, maybe I don't know if he exists. Yeah, still we'll see. But anyway, she's not. She's pretty much like a beggar working. Has been at least, and I think now she's working at the castle as some kind of like I don't know some shitty job in the kitchen or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So against the sort of tones of this setting, yes, oppression of those who know martial arts and oppression of the peasant class is definitely part of it. Perhaps you would have been a great master if only someone like Tiger Eye or her father could have picked you up and helped develop your talent.
Yeah.
It's all Tiger Eye's fault.
Yeah, and also just to be sure, I'm playing the unorthodox for those.
Good. So, shall we help Mikael here by reintroducing all of your characters and maybe just a brief vignette of what you got up to in the last session? I want to go around again in the character keeper and start with Green Owl, played by Ludo.
All right, I'm Ludo, I go by any pronouns, and I'll be playing Green Owl. Green Owl has the Bravo playbook with the Thieves subset. They are middle-aged looking, intriguing, stern looking, but mischievous at heart woman, and they are infamous as the leaders of the Veiled Forest emissaries. And of course, being a martial arts practitioner, they are an enemy of the Fourth Master. Thing is, she has quite the tangled past, and she was actually involved on the events that led to the death of the Green Saber Master, and they actually left the assassin of the Master come free. And not only that, they are one of the daughters of one of the masked enforcers of the Fourth Master, Custodian Tian. Not only that, they often tangle with the local magister, Magister Willow, and their lover Ming, and they often end up mixing between the two of them and play off the desires of each other in her, let's say, less honest endeavors. Uh, Not only that, I also suspect that Tegarai might know way more than what he lets out, and I'm hiding from him the identity as Custodian Tian's daughter and my past with the now authorities of the Fourth Master's Empire.
You're muted, David.
Now unmuted. Next in my list is Sable Serpent, played by Leandro.
Hi. Yeah, so Sable Serpent is the she her pronouns use the student playbook with the hopeful apprentice subset, which means she's one of the more optimistic sort of characters in this setting, which is weird because she belongs to a faction called the Blooming Lotus Sect, who is basically an assassin cult that has their own ideas of how the world should work, and she's kind of a hopeful advocate for how that world works, which is tricky to kind of like express that sort of, well, not naivete, but like just that sort of like just belief in this sect's workings. They were sent to this region mainly because they have a sacred text of the cult that they were meant to pass along to their teacher, Moonlit Raven, who they know last time the sect had heard about what Moonlit Raven was doing. They had well, they had killed some people. Well, they had killed or at least worked for the our good old custodian Tian, keeper of the Red Dragon Mask. Specifically, that they killed the father of someone that I've kind of grown to really, really like and almost say love, but I'm not gonna tell him that. Yeah, I've not found my teacher yet, and also part of the reason why I've been sent here is because I came from this region. I grew up this region before I joined the Blooming Lotus sect. One of my some of my childhood friends have certainly grown up into positions of power that they may or may not have climbed over the backs of other people to to get, namely Magister Willow, who has pretty much enmeshed himself into the bureaucracy of this what would you call it? Not dictatorship. That's kind of a dictatorship, I guess. So I knew him, and also I know the this custodian's daughter, who seem to be wanting to switch over to the other side. If only I can just tell her that she need not work for her father. She can work for us, the cultist assassins. There we go. Yeah, work for one different switch your hegemony for another one. It's a good pitch. You just need to just listen to what I had to say. It'll be grand. It'll be fine. Or so Sable Servant believes. You muted again, David?
I'm going to have one of those days. Right, let's introduce Sabine, who's playing Tiger Eye as the fourth and final character in our band of adventurers.
Hello, my name is Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I'm playing Tiger Eye, who uses he, him pronouns. Tiger Eye is the leader of the rebels of the Hidden Valley, and he is a rebel. How surprising. He used to be quite upper crust society, I guess, because his father was the former custodian of the valley where we are now. And but that was when everything was okay and we had a more benevolent tyranny to rule over us. And he was a nice guy, presumably. Tiger Eye believes that he was. And he was challenged to a duel by Tian, and he failed to win, which was weird because he was a lot better at dueling people. Tiger Eye is one of the last people who uses the Imperial Dragon style, the real Imperial Dragon style, which is fought with two swords and has lots of complicated moves. The the people now that are in the servant of the false master, they use something they call the imperious dragon style, or the true dragon style, or something like that. But it's a bastardized version, and it is inferior. At least that's what Tiger Eye thinks. Tiger Eye and his rebels live usually somewhere in the forests, in the mountains, and they do daring strikes against the tyranny, trying to free the people, but it's slow work. He has, as we discovered last time, he has a sidekick named Y, who is maybe not the most efficient rebel ever seen, but he means well. He really means well.
He does. He's got a heart of gold. Awesome. So that is our 4 characters. So, Mikael, what we haven't got sorted out yet for Ping is their entanglements. So as a start move generally in a session, it is a point for everyone to review whether their entanglements remain correct. If we have not established one, you'll see on the sheet that is CC3 entanglements, some forms of relationships. One of the relationships should be romantic, and one of them should be regarding your faction. Have you had any thoughts about those yet?
I have not.
Cool. Would you then like us to go into that first or cumulative scene of the duel that we had to park, give an idea of introducing the characters, and then we can come back and have a few minutes just to think about those and review our entanglements, do some experience for those who were here last time, and do a little bit of a reset. Yeah, as Sabine said, there are several NPCs that you can entangle with. Potentially introducing them is probably the best way to do that, and then put a couple of establishing questions in to help bed your character into the story. Okay, good. I love the observation that's been going on in the chat window here that Golden Rule, never talk about your feelings. Like, it's the anti-masks on that. I think Ludo is bang on that we have to be relatively repressed and oblique about who we love, hate, fear, and so on. But talking of that, we were on board the ship that was in the dock of the main city in Baozi, which is the the province that we are in, and I say the Magister is in charge of the city. On board that ship, we had found that Green Owl had just opened a very ornate chest to find the broken blade of the first master, and as they were looking over it, they were suddenly disturbed by Custodian Tian, who has entered behind them. How does Green Owl react when Custodian Tian announces themselves?
Well, to learn that, we're gonna have to roll inner conflict.
Dun, dun, dun.
Because she's being confronted by a token of her former master and the presence of her father. So let's roll. 9. So I have, if I want to do something, I have to hurt one of my elements. So I will say that I'm gonna say that she's going to have to damage her water because she's feeling cornered now, quite literally. So Greenau distances herself from her father and tries to be on the lookout for exits, knowing full well that she does not know this man anymore, and trying to brace, this is not your father, this is not your father, way too much has happened, do not let him just talk down to you like a little girl. And then she tries to channel the the brave, heroic thief and says, "Oh, it seems I have overstayed my welcome. I guess it's time to take my leave. If custodian wills it."
So, Custodian Tian looks across and raises an eyebrow, realizing it is you. When was the last time that Green Owl was in the presence of Custodian Tian?
I would say it was on the night before she decided that the fourth master meant to betray the other masters. So she happened to overhear a conversation with between the fourth master and Tian before he was custodian, and telling him to promising him the position of custodian in case he removed the current one. And she realized her intentions and was horrified at the fourth master, and honestly with her father. Not only she discovered that he was willing to betray the four masters, he was also willing to kill someone for no other reason because they wanted their job. On that night, she left.
And that person was Peerless Falcon. He draws the blades, which, if Tiger Eye was here, would have noted them as being those of Peerless Falcon, and says, "Daughter." It is a daughter, isn't it? Yes. This blade is not for you. It is for the Emperor and the Masters. Step away.
The blade you yelled, you get it by right of being there at the moment of the death of its previous baron. Is that not so? I was at the moment of the first master's death. The Emperor was not. It belongs more to me than to the Emperor. By the same right, you claim that blade.
He takes a stance and said, "So, if you claim the blade belongs to you, and of course the terms of your deal, then the terms you've given me, then we must fight. For if you perish, then the blade undoubtedly pass to me. Dun, dun, your father has threatened to kill you. He takes on a martial stance. We're going to enter a duel, and he is above your scale."
Can I help her? Because I have a move that I can be there.
Yes.
Surprisingly. Because that would even out the scales a bit and let her help her escape, right? Because
Absolutely.
that's our goal.
Yes, that is absolutely the case. So I'm going to give Green Owl 1 moment to respond, and then Tiger Eye enters the scene.
And Green Owl, she gets this feeling that this is the moment I've been running from all these years, but I guess today is where I die. And she just prepares to draw the first master's blade and does it. And for a moment believing, yes, this will make me worth it to die like this. And she lowers her eyes and rises to meet her father's musket gaze. "Well, you always valued blades over family. It seems only fitting to conclude this farce." And that's when something happens.
Yes, as just as Tiger Eye appears, his final sentence due before everything explodes is that families are blades, and takes a stand. As you grab the hilt of the blade and half of the blade, because it was snapped in two, as you pick it, it makes a noise as if air is being cut as you lift it up. And Tiger Eye, what do? You have the drop on them.
Well, I will drop as quite literally what I'm envisioning, because there was this hole, I believe, that Green Owl ripped into the deck of the ship, and I will drop down and I will stand beside her, and I will look at Custodian Tian and tell him, today is not the day you kill any one of us. Today is the day you lose.
The looks at both of you, and he's got clearly has your father's blades, Tiger Eye.
I'm rolling in a conflict because I mean I want these, but it's not really useful now to go for these blades because we have to run. Because yeah, well, let's see. Oh wow, I failed totally. I have 3. So what do I do now with my no stars and wishes is not helping me now.
Well, I missed mark XP, and the GM make things much worse.
Yeah, go make things much worse.
So I think at this point, as Green Owl was about to grab down to the second half of the blade, you see Tiger Eye is struck hard by Custodian Tian. Using the blades of your father, he takes the swords that your father gave and forged for you and slices them through. The blades shatter in two, leaving you again with cracked and broken blades. And he appears at both of you and says, "You're out of your depth. Now you will die."
Well, why don't we all end up out of our depths and trying to, out of desperation on a near suicidal way, she tries to make a hole into the ship. So what will that be?
I think that's going to be an overcome because you're under pressure, right? But if you succeed on your overcome, I will allow you to do exactly what you're saying and hull the ship.
Okay, put element. What makes sense?
It doesn't have an element attached to it by the looks of it, which might just be. You would normally choose your normal element, though, wouldn't you? So.
Okay. Oh shit! 3.
Okay. This fails in a terrible way. The power of the blades is greater than you expect, and as you slice it over, trying to hole the ship, you cut deeply and too fast. The ship lists and immediately starts sinking.
Well, that was kind of the point, but
I think because of the level of threat to you is that you are both Tiger Eye and Green Owl are in desperate trouble. I'm gonna cut across to Sable Serpent at this point, where you can literally see the side of the ship explode outwards as it starts falling down into the water. I think I'm going to damage an element on Green Owl. Have a think, Green Owl, on which one you think is most appropriate.
I think hard, because she's probably going to be, because clearly she did not have the focus to harness the blades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was quite a reckless move as well, so it might be fire or earth. I'll let you have a think about that for a moment, and let's pick up with Leandro and Sable Serpent. What does Sable Serpent do?
If I remember correctly, when we last saw Sable Serpent, she was suplexing some poor jabroni off the ship.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole burst out of the ship, and you feel the ship listing, and as much as she probably want to find her teacher, which is kind of why she came to the ship at first place, I think what's going to happen is, I think she sees the hole come out, and she probably thinks, okay, that's where all the stuff is happening, all the big stuff. I'm gonna try and make my way down there by scrambling on the side of the ship towards the hole itself.
Mm-hmm. Can I draw you to your hopeful apprentice move if you haven't read that?
That's what I want to trigger.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think you'd gone to the rowboat. So as you are you have to slide it, literally cut it free and slide it down the side of the boat as it hits the water, and you can see across the flotsam and jetsam coming out of the side of the ship. Custodian Tian is standing one-footed on a barrel, and the others are less well done. They are both at his mercy.
Yeah, I think I see that, and just like it's just out of instinct. I think that I don't think I have any words for Custodian Tian, mainly because I probably have the least connection to him. But I see my erstwhile friends in trouble, and I think it is very much a how would you say it? No, I think Sable Serpent is just it is kind of like a just gonna engage. I think instinctively, just it's very much a case of like, wow, Custodian Tian is like, I don't know, not gloating. He doesn't seem to be a bit of a gloater. He's more of a glowerer than a gloater. I think while he's kind of taking in what Green Owl has done, yeah, Saber Serpent is just kind of like engage, and she has her hopeful apprentice. When you battle someone above your scale, you do not lose immediately. You may mark an element to keep your clearly superior foe busy. If you do this to cover the group's escape, which I'm doing, kind of, probably. Everyone gets away, including myself. So yeah, this is very much a. Oh, okay. Here's what happens. When Sable Servant engages, it is going to be like throw one knife at him and then go after him with the other knife. It's misdirection. It's part of the path of the shadowed sun. I think so. Sun shadow. Close enough. And I think. Oh, what? Here's something Sable Servant says. I think she snarls out the question. I think the other two will hear it. Like, where's Moonlit Raven?
Surprised by the splash of the rowboat hitting the water, he spins round on the barrel to look at you and says, "That is a good question. I seek her as well. When I find her, her fate will also be sealed, like yours." The surprise is probably enough to give you the cover that you need at this point, and potentially one of the others can push the Magister off into the water, allowing you to grab them and sail away.
And I'm gonna mark an element to to ensure that keep them busy. Let's
Sure.
see. Yeah, I think I'm gonna mark 5. Let's see. Looking at these conditions. Yeah, I think I'll mark fire. So I'm feeling reckless. This is quite a bit of melodrama for for what should be a band of assassins, but I guess that's par for the course probably for wuxia drama.
Okay. So that allows you to escape with half of the blade, but not the other half, because you had some shocking rolls. And I think the closing scene of this chapter is that we see as you sail off literally into the dawn sun. We see on the wreckage of the ship Custodian Tian pulling himself out of the water, holding the other half of the blade. And then we'll take a pause there. So, what we and I didn't ask people to do this, I don't think, last time, which is my fault. Sorry. Sort of what we are now, just so we can then introduce this to some framing questions and bring Mikhail in, kicking, sort of fighting, ready to go as well. XP for the characters at the end of the session. You should have marked the entanglement that you wanted to focus on in this game, I failed to ask you to do that, which is my fault, folks. Did anyone do that for themselves? The entanglement they were planning to work with?
No, I forgot to do that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What exactly will that mean?
Well, the entanglement, if the entanglement comes into play during the session, you gain 1 XP. If it is the one that you have focused on comes into play, you get 2 XP for that one being used. Okay, so if you significantly interacted with a highlighted entanglement, 2 XP. If you interact with the other entanglement, mark 1 XP.
Yeah, I did not highlight any entanglement last time.
So we'll do that as we hit the next session. But if you hit 1 this time, I'll be happy to give you 2. So what we're just quickly checking there is in entanglements with Green Owl. Entanglements, Green Owl. Did either of them? Do you think you hit them significantly and you're worth getting XP from?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I opened getting involved with Ming, and I had an encounter between Custodian Tian and Tiger Eye.
Yeah. But Tiger Eye didn't hear the message from Custodian Tian, so still does not know your true identity. So that means you'll pick up 3 XP from your entanglements. Sable Serpent.
I think I definitely interacted with the second one. We may talk with Magister Willow and are reminiscing about the good old days, but things have changed. I think I only halfway interacted with the first one. I don't think I definitely wasn't talking about Moonlit Raven and whatnot, but it involved the Tiger Eye aspect, so it's only slightly interacted with. So I'd say definitely I interacted with one of them.
Okay, so we'll give you 2 for that one. And Tiger Eye.
I think I interacted with the second one that I love Ming because Ming was there and I was in an inner conflict about her. But the first one, I mean, I interacted with Magister Willow's forces and I didn't try to kill him, but I don't think that counts because he wasn't in the scene himself.
Okay. Good. So as we're going into
what does that mean?
The first one, because you've interacted with one and we didn't self-select this time. I'm going to give 2 XP for you did the Ming one. Okay. As we set up the final entanglement now, do just highlight with the background color so I can see which entanglement you're going for, and that will make sure I can sort of focus towards those characters and threads for you. Okay. So what we said next is between phases of play, some time will pass. So when we hit the next adventure in a moment, we will find that 2 seasons have passed, and from the spring we are now into the harshness of winter on time passes. If you look on the other moves tab in the sheet, the Character Keeper, you'll see there is a custom move which Ludo proposed. I've expanded out of, which is time passes between sessions. This is how your rebels have been doing in the interim. And I'm going to start by asking Mikhail to roll on time passes so we can figure out the sort of person that Ping is and see what they have done whilst the adventurers have stolen this sword.
Can I ask a question about our marked elements? I mean, if 2 seasons have passed, are they unmarked or do they remain marked?
I think they can unmark between session. Yeah.
I roll a 9.
So, when time passes, you fade into the background of your own legend. Tell other players what you did to sustain your reputation and roll unmodified. On a 7 to 9, on a hit, you've established your reputation, taking XP. And on a 7 to 9, you've antagonized someone or need a favor. Describe which of your relationships or one of the characters you might run into that comes into play. So what sort of things does Ping get up to? as a rebel and outlaw?
Well, I think she has this dual life going on a little bit. I think at the day she works as like a servant to as the court of Magister Willow, but during like nighttime she's in this kind of, I guess it's this kind of underground gym or something like that. They call themselves the Guild of Starving Morgans. And I mean, it's very much like this kind of idealistic, trying self-betterment kind of thing that they're doing. And I think probably what could have gotten me in trouble is that someone might have caught the connection. Perhaps my employer or something like that.
So this would be a good chance to help Mikhail form an entanglement, I think. Who out of our relationships for the rest of the party we think would be good for this? I'm thinking either Magister Willow or Hao, who is Tian's daughter, might be a good suggestion. Is Calm Water still alive, Sabine?
Yeah, I think so. Why wouldn't she be? I mean, she was at the last session.
Cool. So, actually, I'm gonna, because Ming is Magister Willow's lover, so I'm gonna suggest that you have it is Ming who is the Magister's lover that has discovered your secret gym or dojo ping. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So why don't we think about then making up either a faction or romantic enablement around Ming, because then it's a love quadrangle, or she's your mortal enemy, which could only be good for everybody.
Yeah, I guess for now she's I don't know. I mean, I think actually, let's say that. I mean, I bet that I hold Magister Willow is also responsible for my father's death. Given that he was in this dojo, even though he was just like the janitor or something like that. Of course, the resourceful folk, they got away, such as Tiger Eye. But the janitor, or people who are caught unaware of this political thing that was going on, got to suffer. So I imagine I could do something like that. I think that I think I want to be put some tension between Ming and Magister Willow there as well. Put me in the middle.
All right.
Let's say Ming has taken me under her wing. I think she gave me the job. But now someone in the court knows about my association to the Starving Morgans.
Excellent. Good. Green Owl, time passes. How does that go for you?
Let's roll. Too awful. Complete mess.
The dice don't like you this morning, Ludo.
No, and you don't even get XP on this one. So I think, because now Green Hollow she is becoming more a dangerous combination. She's becoming isolated, depressed, and at the same time reckless. So it seems that it's really affecting her leadership of the Velvet Forest emissaries, and it's the worst. And problems keep piling up, and Green Owl, she seems to be always moving to the next thing and instead of addressing them. And this gets to the point in which some of her lieutenants are captured by the Imperial forces on a ill-fated attempt to recover the other half of the blade. And everyone blames her for this. That she created this antagonism in the first place, and their people they are captured and they are probably going to be killed or taken to the 100 years dungeons, and it's going to be all her fault. And everyone is doubting her leadership and thinking that maybe she is not fit to lead them anymore.
Oh no. Who captured them? Was it Ho or Tian?
It was oh
Dun, dun, dun. Lovely. Let's add some more drama from Leandro. Would you like to roll
Sure.
these?
Let's see if this dice roller hates me as well. No, it gave me a 9. So thankfully, get XP for that. I think what Sable Serpent has been doing in this, like, in between when time passes, that she's kind of been like, not let loose, but like this is kind of like the Blooming Lotus sect has kind of like let her do her thing. So what she's doing is she's applying, the teachings of the Blooming Lotus sect, which is basically going around the province and trying to, like, correct certain imbalances, heal people basically, as the sect dictates. Not willy-nilly. She's not just gonna poison any people. Part of what the Blooming Lotus sect believes is that there are bad people in the world and they just kind of deserve to die. And part of what the sect teaches is that it teaches you how to evaluate whether a person deserves to live or die. And obviously they have their own biases, but as far as Sable Serpent is concerned, those biases have been ironed out by years of study and and careful formulation. So yeah, I think, but also she's also doing this partially to get attention of her teacher, as if to, like, hey, Moonlit Raven, I'm applying my teachings to this province you're in. Notice me, senpai. Sorry, that's a different country's word. That's kind of what she's doing. And oh god, I feel so bad saying those words. Yeah, that is kind of like what she's doing. She's partially like applying what she knew and also trying to get attention of her former teacher, who's somewhere in this province. But at 79, I've antagonized someone or either need a favor.
Good. So that helps me one of my establishing questions. I will reward you. You have made contact with Moonlit Raven, but which of the PCs has Moonlit Raven marked for death?
Oh god. Oh gosh. Oh god. Can I see what everyone else has done?
I'll let you have a think, and we'll come back in a moment.
Okay.
The thing with assassins is you do need to assassinate people. And Tiger Eye, would you like to
roll?
Yes, please.
Can I choose a number instead? No, I'm rolling. It's fine. Oh, I've got a 5. This thing doesn't like me.
Andrew's stealing all the good rolls.
Yeah. My misadventures ended up causing a lot of trouble I'm trying to evade right now. I think what happens is that I maybe tried to get my father's swords and it didn't go so very well, and ever since then, ever since the ship, really, Tian has put pressure on the rebels and put out rewards on our heads, and getting to those who still have families, getting after their families. So we had to actually leave our base because we were discovered or betrayed, probably betrayed. And now we are looking for a new base and mostly just hunkering down in the woods. Times are not good for us.
Okay. So that can answer one of the other establishing questions we've got, that Magister Willow has risen to the rank of governor of the province. What act of brutality did he order against your faction?
Well, I think that he ordered that everybody who ever helped us or was in contact with us be arrested and be punished, be it by losing their livelihood or even losing their lives. So, the pressure is on, and he's doing this. And I think he maybe thinks it's the right thing because we're rebels and we're all evildoers, and whoever helps us is a criminal. He's going for the tough on crime vibe.
Okay, so a lot of suffering of the general people here. And with that as well, he has increased taxes and caused great suffering. Which part of the people or population have suffered most? I'm going to give that to Mikhail because it fits in very well with his faction. Who has suffered from the governor's tyranny?
I think just the people who are the regular people of the city, because whilst the governor is focused on all manner of intrigues, he's not making sure that there's food on the table, and there's
So, potentially terribly worried about assassination, then the governor has closed the doors to the city, which has meant that rations are tight. For custodian, actually, I'm going to leave that one. Ludo, after she captured a number of your members of your faction, Huo gained a dark name given to her by the fourth master himself, maybe. What is her name now?
Silverhawk.
Silverhawk. Okay. Good. So it is deep in winter. It's been one of the harshest winters that even the oldest and most venerable among you, your people, can remember. Since the fateful attack on the city and stealing half of the blade, which half of the blade did Green Owl take? Was it the hilt or the tip? That's for Ludo and Green Owl. Did you take the hilted part or the tip of the first master's blade?
I think it might be more interesting if it was the tip.
Sure.
Because then Tian might use the hilt in a later confrontation.
Good. Okay. It is harsh and cold. Where do we find and first see Green Owl in this chapter of our adventure?
Can we change our entanglements before?
Oh, yes. If absolutely. If anyone, I thought we'd done that, but if we haven't, if anyone feels that entanglements are now incorrect, yes, please do feel free to change them.
I would like to include Ping in one of my entanglements, actually, just so we can get her a bit more into the whole thing. I have to think about what I want to do, but I think Ping only has one entanglement and only one half of an entanglement, actually. So
yeah, so you're right. So look at that. So the entanglement structure on CC3 will help you for this, Mikhail, but they should be from one character pointing back into another, so it forms sort of a double relationship. And if anyone wants to change any of their other entanglements, now would be the right time to do that. So if we took what you currently have there, Mikhail, you have got Ming is taken under a wing, but now someone. But we should probably identify who that someone is.
Is there any of the player characters that are like could be or in the court-ish of?
You've got at least 2 characters connected to Ming here, Green Owl and Tiger Eye. So that might be a good way to point it back out.
Well, I guess Green Owl isn't really undercover anymore, no?
Probably not so much in the yeah.
It could be. It could be. I mean, I don't know who they are.
It could be Sable Serpent, or it could be Moonlit Raven. It would be a potential good.
Yeah, I was thinking Sable Serpent, perhaps.
The Blooming Lotus set get everywhere, so perhaps someone has passed the information to Sable Serpent.
Yeah, I was actually thinking because not yet answered like which PCs have been marked for death, and I think it might be because the easy answer would have been Tiger Eye, just to like, oh no, I love him and whatnot. And my teacher wants him dead, but that's too easy. I did want to involve Ping as well, so I know that Moonlit Raven has marked her for death, but I don't know why. And I think even this is another like test from my teacher to be like, you're still a student, all right, so I've marked this one for death. Your job is to find out why in the eyes of the Blooming Lotus sect she deserves to die. And I'm like,
sure,
okay, sure.
Who's Tian?
Tian is the custodian, the person who was in the duel at the start of the game. They are the Fourth Master's enforcer and lead soldier in this area.
And this who, the daughter of Tian?
That is correct. And the sister of Green Owl.
Well, maybe I could have a romantic entanglement with them since there's...
That would be cool.
I'm doing that. Where are they at? Are they in their own court, or what is going on? Where are they?
Say that again.
Where is she? Where is she? The Huo?
Huo, who is now also known as Silver Hawk, is in and out of the court and out into the wilderness or into the farmlands looking for the rebels. But she is a member of the court. She is second in command of Custodian Tian's armies.
Is it established that they have a lover?
No.
Maybe I can just establish a person.
Yeah.
Let's call them Bao.
Okay. So who is Bao? Is she her current lover or rival, or?
I think it's the lover of the silver of Huo. So I've disguised myself to get close to whoever, but Bao, their lover, suspects me and hates me.
So have you disguised yourself as still working in the castle as a servant, or have you
Yeah, as a
disguised
person
yourself?
who is just normal and
Yeah.
not. I mean, it's put me in unnecessary danger. This is probably the real reason why I'm in the castle in the first place. It would be dangerous for me to really work there, since I'm associated with another dojo, even if so loosely. Especially since I'm now also in the Guild of the Starving Warriors.
Okay.
So I've sorry, go ahead.
It would be good to establish a little bit more about who this Bao is. Except it's just, or do you need anything else, or is it?
Is he to be of interest to Tian? He will likely be of again, and maybe another trained martial artist and one of the dragon warriors, or a rival family. Any thoughts from you, Mikhail, or anyone want to add something to give Bo a little bit more tie-in? I've got an idea, but I don't want to reveal it just yet.
Sure.
If you're happy with that,
Yeah.
I think I can add some Leandro level melodrama.
Let's go with that.
I had an idea because I was trying to figure out like where is Sable Serpent like staying, or where is she like sticking around, and I mentioned that she came from this province. Maybe let's see if Bao's part of the court, and he's a lover of Quo. Maybe he's related to. I'm kind of imagining that maybe Sable Serpent's family is not one of those people who are under oppression. Maybe they're part of the court. Maybe they are they are not they're benefiting from this. Basically, I'm proposing Bao to be my brother.
Sure.
And and my brother suspects and hates this person who my teacher has earmarked for death, and I'm thoroughly confused. And now I really need to know why.
Good. That gives us plenty of drama. If everyone okay, anyone else change any of their?
Yeah, I have changed my entanglement with Magister Willow, who I'm not supposed to kill. Well, we'll see about that. But I swore to Sable Serpent that I would protect Ping because she said this person should not be targeted for anything, and she's really precious. But I know that if Ping knew that I'm sworn to protect her, that she would probably be offended because that's, well, it's a bit condescending, right? Really. But I still do it.
Okay.
If that's okay for
that's
you, Mikhail. Sorry.
That's a question to Mikhail, then, is it?
Are you okay with this entanglement?
Yes.
Good. Okay. So, again, everyone else happy there? Their all of their entanglements are updated, relevant, done. Good. Then that puts us in a position where we say the city and the land is in one of the coldest winters. We're approaching the end of winter, and in the city there is going to be a feast in the palace. They will be warm and eat and drink and celebrate the coming of the shorter nights, whilst the people starve, which is the sort of thing that Governor Willow would do. So, where do we find Green Owl, and how is Green Owl planning to uh, to save her people before they are shipped to the Eternal City?
So we see Green Owl getting closer to Magister Willow, and we see it like if this was serialized, we have seen it multiple times. So we see Green Owl sneaking over the walls of the city, getting closer to the governor's mansion, and then she takes a dive, and she emerges, takes her cloak, swings so that it looks like a more properly courtly manner, puts some gloves and some spectacles, and because in true wuxia manner, the disguise is so effective that this is not even played by the same character, same actor. It's like an actor clearly visible taller and 10 years younger. And then Grinal adopts the identity that she uses as one of the secretaries of Magister Willow. So she takes the disguise of Serene Crow and then mingles with the business around, getting closer to whatever information Magister Willow has been gathering on her and her group, so that she learns where exactly her people are.
So that's awesome. Can you put that assumed name into the chat window for me? I love that. That's fantastic framing. And Sable Serpent. The same question to you. Where do we first see Sable Serpent in this snow-covered city? And what gift has Moonlight Raven given you to try and uncover the reason that she has put this death sentence on Payne?
I think, let's see. When we first saw Sable Serpent last session, it was like skulking in the streets because she had just come back recently. So I think this time when we see her, she's probably. I'm imagining because let me just establish her family benefiting well from this. That this time we see her kind of like in a more official sort of setting. She's probably like in the court, and I just realized that she's putting herself in a court where a custodian can probably recognize her as that girl who fought her randomly that ship. But never mind. I think she's kind of like in the court with her brother, Bao, and she is trying to like, I think she's probably wearing a disguise. Um, Figure out what that disguise is in a moment. But no, she's with her brother at court, and as more like she's asked him for a favor to like bring her to court to like to see how the machinations of running this province is like. So while Green Owl is doing their heroics, Sable Serpent has quite metaphorically put herself in the nest of snakes that is this that is this court. All right, I think I might follow the suggestion in the chat and say that she was in disguise in that boat, and now she's like here, kind of.
Everyone in Hearts of Wulin, I believe, is a master of disguise. Again, until they are not and can be seen through. But I'm totally down with that. Awesome. And Tiger Eye, especially who has been out in the frozen heavy woods in recent months and has been he and his people have been chased relentlessly. Is Tiger Eye still carrying the broken swords from the fight with Tian, or have they replaced them with something different?
I think it's not that easy to replace a sword. So I think he has replaced one of them, but the other is still the broken one, and that's well, a pair of swords they had been given to him by his father, and he will carry at least one of them, and he will modify his style a bit, because that is something he can do. He has trained relentlessly. We can see a training montage of him standing on trees and hitting snowmen. But at this moment, I think he's in the city as well, because his aim is to steal some of the food that is distributed or that is served at the party, and to get it out to the populace. Because once it's out and once people have it, they will praise, of course, the governor for his generosity. And I hope his hope is just that the governor will accept that, because it's actually a win for him. But Tiger Eye at this point is like, these people need to eat, and that's more important than my reputation or Governor Willow's reputation, whatever. He is disguised as a servant at this point, and so several of his other members of his gang are as well, and they have infiltrated, well, no, it's probably just for guys, but they have infiltrated the palace and are setting things up to get the food to the people where it belongs.
Good. And finally, the same question to Ping, the Dirty Fist. Where is she establishing this opening scene in this chapter of the novel?
I imagine that Ping is like the equivalent of a handmaid to Ming. So I think she's in her chambers, like washing her hair or something like that. You can. I think it's also other servants there, and their door like is open to like the. You can see like the insides of or like the courtyard of the palace from the door, with like Ping watching out the door while washing the hair of Ming.
Okay. Within the palace, Governor Willow has declared that winter is banished and forbidden, and here we will eat and celebrate in service of the glorious empire. The last of the pigs, a number of the bags of rice from the harvest have been taken and are being taken by dragon masked troops into the castle for the feast. The people go hungry, but the gates are shut. It is said that Governor Willow is concerned that there are assassins trying to come and kill them. Let's pick up with Tiger Eye. Tiger Eye, as you and your folks are making your way through the city and into towards the castle, you can see one of these acts of food and grain being taken from one of the areas of storage in the city. The people are protesting. The soldiers seem cold and heartless, the smoke curling from their dragon masks. They say, "This food is needed for those more worthy than you. You will make do on what we have given you, or you will face our wrath."
Oh, damn, I really want to confront them, but the plan is to get the food from the feast, and not right now, and that would blow our cover wide open. That would be bad. So, but we can use this opportunity to maybe sneak into the castle as disguised as the servants who have to carry the food in. So that will mean that we know where the food is, which is quite a good,
Mhm.
which is quite good. So
Do you feel that Tiger Eye, unable to act, is facing in a conflict or is down with this?
I don't know if this is in a conflict. It doesn't actually touch one of my entanglements. I don't know. I don't
That's fine.
think so. I think because also the consequences if I fail this would be that he had to run away, and
Mhm.
that doesn't work. So
Okay.
no, I don't think this is inner. I mean, he has inner conflict, but he's right now he's feeling duty bound to do it this way, the way the plan has been set up. Also, he's hoping to see Ming in the castle, and that is inner conflict, and I'm rolling. Okay. You've convinced me, and I've got an 8, so, well, not that great. And I have to mark an element, right? Because I don't want to flee the scene. No. I'm not fleeing the scene. I'm marking an element. That's a good
What
start.
are you?
I'm marking wood because patience. No, I'm now not patient. I'm out of patience now.
But the good news is you're pretty sure that you can follow them and see how they're getting into impressive roofed castle and use it as a way to infiltrate the city. Sorry, use a way to infiltrate the castle. You already infiltrated the city. So to get into the castle, are you and all of your people trying to make their way through?
Well, we'll disguise the servants for sure. I mean, it's a feast. They need more servants.
Good. Okay. So I think at that point the soldiers see you dressed in the livery of the servants and go, "Ah, good, you've arrived. Carry the grain."
And we will.
As you pick it up, as I say, the people that's been taken from go, but surely we will starve if you take this. Why does the magistrate do this? Can he not share? This is ignoble.
I've set my course of action. Now I can't. I will help them, but not at this point in time.
Yeah, that's fine. So as you do this, one of the guards raises his fist and strikes the old man, dropping to the floor. The people or his
Can I jostle him before he does that? Like I'm clumsy, not like I'm attacking him, but like I'm clumsy, so he will strike me instead of this poor guy. Because I'm
yes,
a hero and the guy is.
Can. I think that's either an impress or a hearts and minds.
Is that really?
Or just a push? No, you're probably not. No, might just be just actually. Let's just say it happened. I think you're trained enough martial arts. No problem. You do that. The strike hits the rice bag as you were swinging it around, spilling grains across the ground. They start grabbing them up, and the guard looks at you through the mask and says, "You're a fool! Find that bag."
Forgive me, master. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. And I will then gather up whatever I can gather up and have the people maybe gather up some stuff too, because I'm clumsy, as we've established. And yeah, well.
I've lost my note that reminds me. What's the name of your trusty friend and servant?
Why?
Yeah. Yes, no problem. Why offers to help you with your carrying this, and you make your way in towards the castle. Green Owl, you said you were already inside the castle. Do your family reside inside the castle grounds normally, or are you here for the feast? Not Green Owl, sorry, Sable Serpent.
I think no, I don't think they reside in castle. I think they're here for the feast. And I think my family. I don't think my parents are around. If they are, they're a bit. I think it's mostly my brother and his retinue. Um, which I guess that retinue includes me now. Um, yeah, I think they're here for the feast. I think they stay here, so to speak.
How is Bao your older or younger brother?
Let's say older, the
Mhm.
the responsible one.
He is renowned as one of the best riders and archers in the province. And here he is giving a demonstration of his skill to Ho. So out on the snowy courtyard, he is almost not looking, but with a tall, long bow, shooting shot after shot that hits into the center of the uh, target. Um, what is Sable Serpent doing whilst this is happening?
She is. She's she's watching politely, but well, everyone's kind of like, "Oh, Bao's showing off." She's trying to like, yeah, I guess to be like a bit of a study. She's trying to like just um trying to figure out like for one thing, I think she's trying to figure out both. She's trying to figure out where people stand, specifically Huo as well, who she had known months ago was ready to change sides, but now she's taken on a new name and she's got a new demeanor. And also, I'm trying to find trying to figure out where Ping is, where Ping would be. So it's a lot of trying to figure out. Well, but I think when we see the screen, she's kind of like with her brother's group, and she's kind of polite, like, "Yeah, but okay, I get it. Yes, you're good at this shooting arrow stuff."
Huo looks at Sable Serpent, even in their disguise, and their eyes meet, and you think that she has seen through your disguise. She looks at you and nods
Can I roll
coolly.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, go.
Oh, I was saying, yeah, our eyes connect. She nods, and I nod back stiffly. Can I roll my inner conflict here? Because I really want to talk to her, but ah,
I will never stop someone from rolling their inner conflict.
yeah. Let's see. How am I feeling? Um, I'm trying to be cautious, I guess. That's why I just stiffly nodded. So I'm rolling with Earth. So it's just a flat roll for me. Okay, that's an 8. So I'm gonna mark that element and hit get XP. So yeah, I think yeah. What this looks like is I nod and I'm trying to figure out the most subtle way to say, can we talk privately? But I guess we're a bit hampered by each other's position in this.
Okay, as you do that, it doesn't note the special gesture you're given, but Bao does see that your eyes have lingered on Huo for too long. And he looks at you and steps in front and goes, "Do not bother the lady. She is not for the likes of you, bookworm."
I, Wow, I did not think I would be penalized for a look, but if you if you say so.
So why would she look upon you when there are acts of skill and courage that I can show her? Away with you! And I think, Ping, if you would like to enter the scene at this point, you're more than welcome to do so.
Yeah, like clarifying question. How public or not public is the relationship between Ming and
Bao? Oh, Ming and sorry,
And what's his face?
the
Just,
Governor Willow. Yeah.
Governor Willow.
I believe it is well established. I'm going to ask Green Owl to clarify that for me.
Well, I think the first thing before anything is if she gets anything from the thief move, from learning any important information.
Oh, I didn't. You were pulling the thief move. Sorry.
And then based on that, then she'll probably be mingling and using Legend of the Fox, depending on what she gets on the thief.
So, just before the question was how common is the well known is the relationship between Governor Willow and Ming? Are they secret or public lovers? Do you know the answer to that, or any preference? Otherwise,
I think it's supposed to be pretty public, but at least
yeah,
we kind of summed that last session. We did
yeah,
not get anything openly contradicting, but I think it was,
yeah.
yeah, it was
So,
public.
so I think the answer is well known. Ping.
So I think at this moment, then I entered the the feast, or like this area with Ming. I'm probably like walking like behind her. She's dressed up in like this nice dress, and I'm in my servant robes, and I just like look around. Probably she gets some attention. She probably looks quite beautiful in her dress, and being like lover to this kind of powerful person. And yeah, I look around nervously because I'm not used to being like even if the people are not looking at me, I am right behind the person that they're looking at as she comes in.
So I think there are a few of you probably in the ladies in waiting to her. Uh, Ming is Ming is waiting, or she's just talking to the governor at this point. Willow is like unlike anyone outside the palace is becoming increasingly corpulent and merry, and is rarely seen now without a glass of rice wine in his hand. He is here drinking and celebrating. Go, it is so warm, and the castle is safe. No one can penetrate, and no assassins are here. Do you not think this is wonderful? He points and addresses that at you, Ping. Oh, is Mikhail still with us?
He looks frozen.
He does look frozen. So I'll come across to Ludo instead then, and Green now waiting for Mikhail to defrost. Green Owl, you wanted to use some of your special moves.
Yeah, I wanted to see if I can learn anything about what has been happening within the house and the dynamics where they are moving prisoners around, and then act on that.
Okay, so the prisoners are held in the deepest dungeon of the castle. They are to be brought out this evening at the height of the feast and be shamed before being placed on board the ship and sailed to the prison of 100,000 years, which is not in this province.
Then, on that case, we see Seren Crow looking around, mingling, being, the Moor secretary in the corner, taking notes, passing notes to the magistrate, like, this is who that person is. That person did this favor for you. You should thank them. And to make him look more socially competent. And on the process, she tries to get who is the most wealthiest or influential person in the room.
Well, the wealthiest and most influential person in the room is definitely Governor Tian. Governor Willow. Underneath that, the next wealthiest family include the scion of that family, who is the famed archer Bao, brother to your comrade and friend Sable's serpent.
I think when I get the sense that this is supposed to be something to humiliate, I try to create some antagonism discreetly between Dao and Willow so that they try to show each other off. So I'm gonna first to do a study to see how well I read the situation, to see how I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm studying with I was something with two men. I'm studying with wood, and I get a 5 because the dice hate me.
Oh no.
And okay, so anything special on further on study? No, nothing at all. So studying for nothing. Hey, I get +1 on going on acting off the questions I did not ask.
It doesn't say what happens on a fail with that roll. So I think you discern nothing of.
Actually, if I'm reading the Legend of the Fox correctly, I always get an extra roll, extra hold. So I actually get to ask a question, I think.
Yes.
Okay, so I think the question that I will do here is how can Bao's pride be so insulted that they antagonize the host? And then I hope that this will get the ball rolling because Willow does not want to look foolish in front of his lover.
Your people in the palace tell you that the Bao is trying to gain the affections of Ho, and if maybe his pride though is shallow, and if you were to spread the rumor that Ho is now Willow's favored as the greatest archer in the province, then that rivalry and tension is likely to explode.
So with this, Green now fades into the background. The ship puts her plans into motion, and I think we could go back to Ping.
Yeah. Ping, you were with before your internet froze up there. I had that all this week on Tuesday to cancel a game because of it. It's horrible. What Willow asked of you looks and says, he said, it is so safe. There are no assassins. Nothing can come into my castle. Looks quite stressed and concerned and looks at you almost pleadingly as to reinforce his belief, looking at both you and Ming, that there are no assassins in the castle.
Oh, of course not. How could anyone infiltrate such a safe and well-guarded castle? I am sure everyone here is safe and nobody would think such a thing.
He goes, "Oh, young lady, you are such kind words, but there may be assassins everywhere." He looks around, seems quite concerned. I have heard that the Blooming Lotus sect themselves have been commissioned to take my life.
Oh. I have not heard anything of such thing, Governor. I'm sure there is enough people here to protect you if so be. And I look around for. Do I know that Sable Serpent is in the Blooming Lotus sect? Is that a...
Yes, I'm happy that you can make eye contact with Sable Serpent at this point, if you like, knowing how they will be disguised.
Yeah, and I think I just like look over and just like briefly glance at Sable Serpent. Is like, oh, I am sure that no one of the Blooming Lotus sect would dare to come here tonight.
If you'd like to reassure them or trying to gain some information out of them at this point, you may have the option to take a hearts and minds, because they are listening to you and to Ming.
Yeah. Sure. I think that I want to. I am curious to know more about why he thinks that. I mean, that seems like possible leverage. Could you roll the dice roll? No, link the dice roll again. It disappeared for me.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Oh, thanks.
And that's plus.
Name your element that you're going to use.
Yeah. Seems like water.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 12.
They bow to your words, and they are convinced that there are no assassins. In fact, so convinced that they will take less precautions during the evening. Have given me such confidence in the guards, but you can still now ask, the questions.
Why does he fear to be attacked in his own castle? Like, is his soldiers, is he not confident in his hold of over the court?
So you've heard a rumor that when the sword of the first master was stolen, or at least part of it was stolen, that the reason that Willow was made governor is he revealed all of Tien's failings to the fourth master in the Eternal City. He believes that as a result, Tien, who has returned from the Imperial City any time now, may seek vengeance. Okay. Good. So, in relation to Sabine's question, let's take a 10-minute break there and grab some coffee and come back and see how we can escalate this into some. I really want to see Ming and Tiger Eye in a scene as soon as we've done that and come back from coffee. So, back at 25 past the hour, then, please, folks. Okay, we are back. I say a little time has passed. The castle ballroom is main reception hall is filling up with the feast, the food. There are guests everywhere, allowing people to move around relatively freely if you feel it is appropriate for your character to enter a scene at any point. Because of the movement of people, you're likely to be able to do it. But I am thinking that I would like to see a scene, just to suggest one at the minute, that almost oblivious to such an effective disguise, both Ming and Ping are standing almost just in front of Tiger Eye.
I think Tiger Eye has changed his disguise once he's in the castle.
Sure.
His people are still disguised as servants and running around and fulfilling the motions of the plan, where they are giving like rice wine to the guards and stuff like that. But Tiger Eye has, of course, changed his attire to appear as a foreign dignitary, I guess. So he's wearing a bit weird but oddly practical clothing. Of course, all of his disguises it's insane that they are so effective, because he has only one eye and he always has to disguise the fact that he does. But, well, it works somehow. He's wearing a very fantastic hat to distract from that fact. And he is walking around and still putting things into position and, moving, like, kind of distracting those people who should be more aware of what the guards are actually doing. Because he is a foreign dignitary and is commanding people to go there and then go there. Stuff like that.
Good, that's fine. So,
and then he sees, of course, Ming and Ping. But Ming.
Ming, even though you are one-eyed and disguising it, does not see through your cunning disguise, and
of course not.
She is standing there looking sad and forlorn, and she says to Ping, I hope the snows pass soon. To be captured inside this castle for so long is stealing my life. I have not seen a friend for too long.
Oh, I will approach her then. Of course, she doesn't know who I am, and I cannot reveal it because that would put her in danger. But I want to talk to her. I really want to talk to her. And I will say, gracious lady, you are the most beautiful person here in this room. Will you please honor me with talking to me? By talking to me. I am sorry. This is a weird language that you speak.
Ping, you're there as well. She was speaking to you a moment ago. So how does Ping react to this stranger? Does Ping see through the disguise?
I think it's long enough since. I think it's a while since she's seen Tiger Eye, and I don't think she expects him to be here. So I don't think so, actually. But she looks up at this person that's coming, and excuse me, want to address yourself who you are before you speak to the lady?
Oh, you do not know who I am? Of course you do not. I am Hataka from somewhere far away, the kingdom of the setting moon, it is called. We are very important trade partners, or maybe. And who are you?
Oh, I'm just a servant. And
you are a forward servant, my dear. I like that.
And she looks up at me. It's like just for what you said, it's kind of funny this person comes up. I mean, some would say that it's a bad servant. I'm sorry. That was out of place.
Oh no! I quite like people to stand up for themselves and their friends. It's in my country that is an honorable thing to do.
Yeah, I think Ping has like this small smirk and there's like this, well, not in this castle. And she just like points up at me. Well, maybe this is a new friend, Ming.
So Ming looks at you, taken aback by your boldness, and says, "Your compliments are kind, but do you not know who I am, the courtesan of?"
I do not. No, I do not know who you are. Of course, I do not know who you are. And I think at least Ping will notice that the foreign ambassador or whatever he is gets a little bit flustered.
And says, "You're handsome indeed, but I am taken by Governor Ming, and he is
Well, not
jealous.
she's
I am afraid. Oh, sorry, Governor Willow. So he is thin-skinned and jealous when it comes to those I would talk to. I would be. What would you like to talk about?"
Well, I would like to know who you are and what your dreams are and what the desire of your heart is. You know, in my country, the people, we do not, well, we follow our hearts. That is the most important thing, that we follow our hearts.
Your country sounds wise and so different. Here we follow our duty. And she looks down and says, my heart is unimportant. As if she was trying to think of something, but unimportant to where we are. I am in the service of the governor until she says there was someone, but he has been gone a long time. I fear the worst.
Maybe he still thinks of you. And maybe he's closer than you think.
Surely, if that was the case, he would have sent some message. I believe he has forgotten me, and I must too forget him.
You are not. I cannot believe that anybody would ever forget you.
Her eyes look wet for a moment, and she raises her sleeve and comes back down and says, I have enjoyed our conversation, but I feel that your heart is too much of fire for me, sir.
And I'm bowing back and I'm saying, forgive me, kind lady. It was a joy to speak to you. And allow me to give you, or give your servant, this little gift, a token of appreciation. This is common in my country. And I will give, I think it's nothing very special. It's a kind of brooch or something made of wood, and there is a tiger eye set into it. And I'm giving this to Ping, and then I'm going off.
Yeah, Ping immediately like realizes, and like I don't know. I think like looks a bit abashed by this being tricked by this disguise.
Awesome. Sable Serpent, what are you doing?
In this dance, let's see. My two objectives were to either talk to Huo or to study more of this whole Ping situation. Since Ping's I see like, yeah, there's that three-way conversation happening, and Yeah, but there's some weirdo in a ridiculous hat there. I'll come back to that. So I am going to try and find Quo. No matter what my brother says, unless it's the two of them are busy because they are lovers. But yeah, what's Quo doing right now?
Huo, within the feast, I think also wishes to speak to you. Huo, being as graceful as she is, but as threatening as she becomes, steps out from behind one of the wooden podies in the room and pulls you back and in towards the shadows and looks you coldly in the eyes.
This. Whoa. Um, this is. What's happening? Whoa.
I feel like I am losing myself, Sable Serpent. Is it too late? Are my crimes too grand? Can I be redeemed?
Whoa. It's never too late. I do believe, and we believe this as well, that there's always a path back before it's too late. And as I see it, I think I put kind of like my our hands kind of like on her shoulders and say, as I see it, if anyone can claw their way back, it's you.
I've seen such injustice in these lands. They have taken, she looks at this opulence, whilst the people are starving. This was not the Emperor's demand. We are here to serve the people and keep them safe from bandits such as Tiger Eye. if only there was a greater governor than this. Do you think your brother would be a good governor?
I blanch a bit of that. No, well, I blanch internally, and I think she lets go of like both shoulders, Sable Serpent, and she says, My brother is many things. He is proud. He is self-serving, but what he doesn't have, what he has that Governor Willow doesn't, is you and me. Some time ago, Willow had us, but there's a part of him that's gone now. There's a part of him that we let slip, that I let slip. I was not here to see that happen. But Bao has you. And since you cared enough to ask if there's a way out, then of course there is for you.
He is pliable, malleable. We could do great things with him.
Then perhaps he is best fit to be governor, then.
That would mean that Governor Willow would need to have an accident.
Let's see. This is I think this is another inner conflict. This is dealing with that second entanglement. Willow was a friend, but he's become a jerk. And yeah, I just need to roll to see like how how to frame my reaction to this.
I'll come back to you in a minute. I'll give you a moment just to think that through.
Okay.
Okay. So, Green Owl. The event is in full swing. There is music playing. Food and wine are plentiful. what is Green Owl's current plan?
So we cut to Green Owl back as many conversations were happening, as Green Owl just comes in, always in the background, and then we see what exactly she was been doing, and we see her listening, overhearing people, looking for opportunities, casually leaving some bows nearby on visible places, well, visible from the main dais of the festival. And then finally, it's time to set her plan into motion. And she gets to the second floor above and she lets it drop a banner that cannot be reached from the floor below, and it says, "Remember the four masters." And then she watches the chaos.
I think you're rolling an impress for that, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna do hurt because I've been preparing this carefully. And finally, a roll that does not hate me. I get an 11.
Woohoo. So on a hit to impress and convince, pick two things: create a bond with someone, clear an element, or gain a favor. What would you like to happen?
I mean, considering my status, I think I should clear an element. Yeah. I'm gonna clear. I'm gonna clear water because this is still very reckless.
Yeah. Okay. And would you like to take a bond with any of the PCs or NPCs that you think is appropriate, or a favor from someone?
As a favor, well, having them instigating an impromptu competition as they rush for the bows and try to take turns shooting the banner down be a favor?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's what happens.
That's fine. So the sign, the banner falls down with the Chinese writing on it. How does everyone else react?
That's perfect, actually. People will be distracted now, and we can start carrying out the food. Yay! So I think I will set my plan into motion, getting and start to rope some of the normal servants into the whole thing, and tell everybody conflicting stuff because that Bao has ordered this, that Governor Willow has ordered this, that Custodian Tizian has ordered this, until everybody is totally confused about who ordered what. And then this banner goes down and chaos is multiplied. So, way.
Good. I'm not going to ask you for roll for that. The distraction caused is enough. The troops are all looking at how they can get the banner down, and you start grabbing the food. And the men who are with you, especially Huai, they are down into the kitchens, carrying out everything they possibly can.
Yeah.
Good.
Nice.
What about everyone else at this point? What does Ping do as the banner rolls down? She's still with Ming, who looks up with a gasp.
Probably at this point she is. I think she looks around for Huo. This seems also like a perfect time to try to support them when everyone else is busy on other things.
So as you do that, Ming does proclaim, "Tiger Eye is alive!" Stealing Green Owl's thunder. But yeah, Huo is, as you can see her stepping away and out into she's working with purpose towards the banner and looks furious. Bao has shouted for his bow, but you can step in.
Oh god. Well, So yeah, I think I like go towards Bao just to like in anticipation of what he's going to do.
Mike, that cut out of me. Then can you repeat that?
Yeah, I am walking towards like where Bao is, anticipating what he's going to do.
What he's shouted for one of his entourage to go and grab his bow, or a bow from the wall, which they are doing. He is standing and looking up at the banner and trying to spot someone up there on the roof who may have put them up. Looks like he wants to get the bow to shoot the banner down.
Yeah, I wait for him to get his bow.
The bow arrives. He starts notching it and lining up at one of the ropes to hold it. And if no one's going to stop him, he shoots through one of the ropes holding the banner.
I think I like. I watch him do it to see how he reacts, like what is going.
I actually would like to stop him, or maybe just, when walking past him, just give him a nudge, just like, oh, I'm sorry, I did not mean. It is very chaotic here.
Okay, so 2 actions there. So Mika, as that's happening, you can roll a study, and so Pink can roll a study, and then Tiger, I think the most likely thing to do is overcome at this point. It's not into a duel, so overcome will be.
No, this is not. I'm not aiming for a duel. I just want him to. Well, I will do that with, I think, control and calculation. So that's metal. See how that goes. Oh well, I have an 11. That goes pretty well.
I roll an 8.
So I think you 2 things. You are successful, Tiger Eye, and the arrow goes wide. Ping, as you answer your question, you also do spot that the reason that Bao missed was down to the person you believe to be Tiger Eye tapping his foot as he moves past. So, what would you like to get out of your study move?
I want to reveal a detail. I think that I like to you see, like when he does that and misses, you see like Governor Willow's giving him a glance, like a very angry glance, like as if he think he did it on purpose. Missed.
Oh, nice. Okay. So I'll establish that Sable Serpent, you're standing close to Willow at this present moment in time. And Willow goes, your brother, he is supposed to be the greatest archer. He is incompetent.
Yeah. Can I roll that inner conflict that we left on a cliffhanger?
Oh, yes. Have you come at your decision?
Yes. Yeah. I think that was that's I'm rolling with fire. I didn't come here to kill Willow, but Whoa is persuasive, and I'm a student. I'm easily persuaded. So I'm gonna roll with this. Oh God, why did I roll with fire? That's a fail. That's a 6. So I think when we cut, I think when we broke, me and Huo, I think before we could come to a decision, that's when the chaos happened.
Mm-hmm.
all the stuff, and yeah, I went to Willow, to her side, and that's when you said all this. He's incompetent, and I think what did I say? I almost kind of shrugged and said, like, well, he's my brother. He does what he can. And I think I'm starting, like, just trying to figure out, like, okay, I need to, like, do this as soon as possible. But you have leeway to make things worse because you're the GM.
Yes. As that happens, I think Huo throws a dagger, two daggers, which appear from nowhere and cut through the ropes ribbons holding the banner, which starts floating down. See that? That is the act of someone who is the greatest archer in the province, not your brother. She shall be proclaimed as the greatest archer. Your brother can go back to farming.
God, this guy. I think Sable Serpent is trying. She's keeping her guys as a bookworm, I guess. As she's kind of trying to look around because the Tiger Eye is around here somewhere as well. Ah, shit. Or at least somewhere around. And she says, "I'm sure he'd be very displeased at that. Willow, Governor Willow, shouldn't you take shelter? There's chaos around. We should get to safety."
You're trying to convince someone, so can have a hearts and mind.
Yeah. Let's see. I think this is I think another. I don't mark an element for failing that inner conflict roll. No, do I? And no, it doesn't say, so I probably don't. Because to be honest, this is probably more fire. I'm gonna roll fire again because this is.
If you fail, normally you mark an element. Anyone else want to confirm? I think you mark an element if you fail and you gain
Okay.
XP.
Yeah, I just assume like on a miss, mark XP and the GM makes things worse. If you want me to mark an element, that's fine.
I'm pretty sure generally you mark an element if you do fail a roll. So I'm going to say yes to that rather than slowing things down. And if I'm wrong, I'll beat myself with what I brush later.
Okay, that's fine. I'll mark wood because I'm getting impatient. I'm becoming I'm becoming the opposite of patient. Yeah, I'll keep rolling with fire. This is Sable Serpent improvising.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's a -1. Okay, that's a 7.
So they don't bow to your will, but you can gain influence over
them. What sort of influence?
So on a 7 to 9, they can instead choose to reveal. They can have 2 questions of you, overreact. You get a one with them, hesitate, or alienate. You create hesitate is +1 ongoing against them, and alienate you create animosity between them and another NPC or PC.
Do I get to choose that, or is that?
Yeah.
Oh shit. There, it says here, they can instead choose to. So I thought you were choosing that.
Well, in that case, I don't mind, I'll choose and say that they overact and you gain another bond with them.
But I want to kill them.
Willow is taken aback by how much you want to assist him. He goes, "You have always been my staunchest friend and ally."
I nod and say that you've done so well for yourself, Willow. You need to serve. You need to survive whatever is happening here. You've done quite well. I resist the urge to slap his belly. We. Either way, you need to take shelter as soon as possible. Let's at least get somewhere away from the crowds. If not, like, so I'm saying, like, it's not, if not like complete shelter, let's move in like in a position where at least there are more like people around that he
Nod.
feels safe in.
Yes, let me and you, so you and I and my elite guards leave this place.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay. Greenell, after you've dropped the distraction, what else? Other chaos were you planning?
So after everything starts to go down, Grinald gets out of her Timur, these guys, and jumps out in the snow-covered courtyard because she's expected. Now the feast was getting to the high moment. This was exactly when the guards were bringing the prisoners out, and she's moving to intercept because she's confident that with the fear of the assassins, the best people are inside the feast hall. So she's rushing to intercept the captors as they transport the prisoners.
Okay. Good. So they are being brought out. They're all chained, or chained. They have wooden shackles around their legs, and they're moving sort of that centipede format. Their arms are bound, their legs are bound. They've got ones on their necks and ropes carrying them. There's 6 of them, all in all. They do not appear to have been treated well. There are guards around them, saying, one of the guards is sort of looking, going, with all that chaos, should we take them up, or should we bring them back to the cells? Giving you your moment to act.
So I pull out my hammer that I was keeping hidden, and I swing them massively, engaging them in a duel, trying to knock them out while they are still surprised and deorganized.
These are definitely below your scale, so you can deal with troops if you prefer.
What do you mean?
There's a duel or a deal with troops, so you don't need to duel the lead guards. You can deal with troops of a group of foes or are collectively below your scale. So as there's half a dozen guards here, deal with troops would be the more appropriate move. Describing, if you are successful, how you defeat all of the guards without a blink.
Okay, I'll be dealing with troops, and I get a 13.
Yes. Okay. On a 10 plus, you do so easily.
Yeah, so they are
Right.
deorganized. So immediately, the one that was talking, I immediately go for him and knock him out. And before the others can riposte, I just break with massive hammer swings the shackles, keeping my people alive, and then we turn on them, start fighting the guards off.
Okay, taken by surprise, you overcome them easily in the chaos as they take in the wooden shackles and then eventually their swords, putting the guards to the sword, and the members of the Vale Forest emissary that you have freed look at you, and one of them, who was your staunchest critic, what's their name?
I would say it's Tarnished Bull.
Tarnished Bull. So Tarnished Bull looks at you, kneels, and laid out the sword and said, "I was a fool to not believe in you.
Well,
What
I
shall we
got
do?"
in trouble. You were not a fool. You were right, but now you have to get away.
He said, "Shall we flee? Shall we take this moment to take the castle?"
You cannot hold the castle even we take it, but take as much as you can grab on your way out. People are starving. We are not doing much better ourselves.
Nods and says, "To the storerooms, then. We will go there, and to the tax rooms." And they nod and are away. We go back into the chaos of the ballroom at this present moment in time, and literally as the banner is floating to the ground, so Howl looks at Bao and says, "Your aim seemed to be off, Bao. Mine never is." Her eyes cross the room and look at Ping as she's saying this.
Indeed, there was a bit off. Wow. Peanuts.
Sorry, I think I just had a motorcycle coming past you then, Mikhail. So,
Motorcycle season.
yeah.
Yeah, I think Ping is just like, yes, it indeed seemed to be a bit off, Bao. The governor didn't seem pleased.
Bao looks at you and says, "When I require the evidence and advice of a servant, I will ask it." And
Oh,
looks
I
at you.
will go give my advice and evidence to the governor instead then. Thank you, Bao. And Ping leaves.
I think Ping, he looks at you and says, "This insolence will not pass," and cocks another arrow into the bow. And as you have the choice, as you can continue working away, but you can hear the stretch of the bow string.
I'm still close, right? Because I wanted to protect Ping. I swore to protect Ping. So, yeah, just keep in mind that I will either jump in front of her or hit Bao, but I want to see what she does before I do that.
Yeah, I think actually that in this situation, Ping reacts as a person that is living in a bad neighborhood does, and immediately like goes to knock his bow off.
Good. So I think
that seems like a good thing for mine. His name is nobody when he deliberately head off alone into a dangerous situation.
Yeah, good. So which element are you using? Presumably you're fighting one, and then you're rolling a...
Let's see. Come on. Oh, no. That's a 5.
You turn to confront them.
Actually, I think I want to use my prodigy move.
Okay.
And roll my 1.
Sure.
I mean, this seems like to be the time for it. I still have 1. Well, good. More trouble then.
Okay. Cool. So so that being the case, still on a fail, the arrow flies true, and if it was not for the long sleeves of your silk gown, it would have been worse. But you are going to take damage to an element for this, and I think it will be probably because actually you did try to use your power to do it. It's likely to be water, so you're not in a position to fight at the moment because your water element is damaged.
I want to confront Bao now because come on, I'm pulling him around and I'm saying, you are shooting at servants now, and you call yourself an archer. I, Tiger Eye, will not stand for this, and I throw off my disguise at that point because come on.
Tiger Eye shows off disguise. Yep. It sounds like you're going straight into a duel at this point because when he sees you, he takes the arrow in his hand and tries to strike at you with it.
Yeah, sure. He's on my scale, right?
Yes, he is.
Cool. I want to duel this dude. Let's see how I do. Probably not good. Oh, I do terribly. I rolled a 3. I'm at a 5 then. That bow is harder than I thought. So, your phono, I lose the conflict. What happens then?
So, as you so you say this, throw off your disguise. He looks and says, "Tiger Eye, finally a foe worth fighting." And even at close range, manages to pull the bow back and shoots an arrow that clashes into both of your blades, knocking them out of your hand before he closes in and delivers a sharp blow to your neck, causing you to collapse to the floor, gasping.
I'm captured now. Great.
Good. So it's all going very well then. Right. Let's cut across back to Sable Serpent, who's been, especially as you hear the cry of Tiger Eye, then Willow is even more concerned. He goes, "Oh no! Must flee!" And the guards take both of you out of the main room. You're surrounded by some of the elite guards, Sable Serpent, but also Willow.
Yeah, God, I wish some of these rebel bandit vagrants would do a distraction, but since they can't, they have other things to do. I'm gonna try to study the situation, just like, okay, how am I gonna do this? I mean, this is like probably the most high profile, most high intense operation I've been a part of. I'm not that experienced, but yeah, I think I'm rolling with water. I'm trying to use my awareness. 7, 8, 9. Ooh, that's a 9, which is very nice.
So I would suggest that you reveal a detail and change or add to the established fiction to try and take control of the scene.
Oh yes, yeah. I think. I think the path that we're being led by the guards is going to intersect with the veiled forest emissaries who are trying to escape. And yeah, sorry, Green Owl.
That's fine. You cross one of the corridors to see Green Owl and the Veiled Forest emissaries trying to escape with various treasures and food. You are confronted, Green Owl, by the elite guard, by Governor Willow, and Sable Serpent.
Is Ming close by?
Oh no, he hasn't thought about Ming. He's not tried to save Ming. Just tried to save Sable Serpent. Ming's in the middle of all the carnage in the main throne room.
Okay, so in that case, I'm gonna make a study to see if I can run away. There is an escape route or not. And I'm doing this with water. So I have an 8 study. So question, is there a route that I can use?
Yes, you've planned out your way through a numerous exits and escape plan. You'll have to drop what you're carrying, but you can escape, and the guards are likely to chase you.
Yeah, I mean, if we were hoping too much. Green Owl kind of hesitates for a moment to leave the stuff, but yeah, that's how she got people in trouble in the first time. Her mission here is to save people, so she's going to do just that.
Okay. So you flee, and the guards chase after you, assuming that you must be the assassins here to kill Willow. Willow also believes it's going, get them, kill them all, leaving Willow and Sable Serpent alone. Ping, though you are wounded, you can see that Tiger Eye has been more wounded, and some of the guards in the room are now coming forward and binding binding the tiger eyes in rope. Ming looks and goes, "Oh no! What can we do? We must. I must save Tiger Eye." And she picks up one of the dropped swords, and I think she's probably about to try and attack from behind Bao. What does Ping do?
I think stopping people is not the way of the dirty fist. I think Ping like tries to get up and says just like shouts for everyone around to hear, I guess. Bao is the assassin. He was trying to stop me from getting telling the governor about his crimes, and then like starts like running for the where he does for the governor.
I suggest you might want to do a heart and mind against Huo for this.
I guess this might be like fire or something. That's it.
That's 8. Okay, so let's see what Huo will do. You can choose whether they're going to reveal, overact, hesitate, or alienate.
I'm going very much for the alienate here. I think trying to like hammer home this an enemy ship off between the governor and him.
Huo looks at Bao and steps in and says, "Is this true? Have you betrayed me? Have you betrayed the Emperor?" The two of them face off against each other and she says to the guards, "Both of them will be present. Both of them will face and be transported to the 100,000-year dungeon." We come back probably towards a closing-ish scene of the game, really, which is for Sable Serpent with Willow.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how she'd do it. I don't think. Well, since we kind of established that poison is kind of the thing, I think this is going to be as Willow's back is turned to Sable. I think it is going to be like just a light. It will feel like a light nick on the back of his neck, and then we can get to the monologuing if this works. What would this be? Because
do you know what? I'm not gonna. He's not. I think we're just going to go for it. Just don't need to make a roll. I'm happy that you can just direct the fiction that way. You've just taken it by surprise. It's a pinprick to the neck. He sort of puts his hand there and turns around with this look of shock on his face and says, "You have betrayed me?"
I think Sable's serpent's trying to look serene, but she can't. She says, "Willow, you've betrayed the world. And for that, you have to be corrected."
As he falls to the knees, grabs your robes, and looks up to you and says, "Curse you, rebel!" and falls down with a look of horror as the poison takes him.
I think Sable Serpent puts away the knife and she kneels down, looks at her friend, remembers all the times we stole those lilies and orchids from that house. She reaches down, closes his eyes, wipes her face, and then absconds from the scene. Yes, you can.
Good. Okay. So we end with Ping, as of yet unrevealed, Tiger Eye in chains, Sable Serpent, and Green Owl at liberty. And I will stop recording the session there, but we'll do some stars and wishes after this.